Sure. That's a great question, Susie. um, so as far as being in the red tier, yes, it would count towards your capacity, but you know, because we're in the red tier, remember, it's 25% total capacity or 100 persons, whichever is fewer. So if you were going to seat people at a bar front, then they would still need to be seated in such that they maintain the safety and the distance. Does that make sense, Susie? Did I answer your question? Oh, for heaven's sake, sorry. So the question was, Susie had asked, thank you, Sheila. I didn't realize that. Susie had asked, can we seat people at the bar and in the facility? So we're going to talk about this here shortly, but in the red tier, you can seat indoors at 25% of your seating capacity or 100 persons, whichever is the fewest. So if that includes that you do seating at your bar, then yes, you can do that. But that means that you'd also have to, you know, maintain that distancing. So if a couple comes in and they're together, they can sit together at the bar, but you're going to need to maintain distancing from the other patrons that aren't part of that group. Does that make sense? Susie, I hope I answered your question.
You're muted, Caleb. Caleb, you're muted.
Okay, it looks like Ryan is there.
We were hoping for a quick meeting today.
away. Well, now people are texting to find out what's going on.
Do you want to tell them that we lost our county support?
You're asking me?
Yeah, people in the chat are
Yep.
asking
You're-
why we're just sitting here.
Well, the network apparently went down, but I see Ryan, so I think we can get some information anyways.
Yeah, sorry about that. It appears as though the county's internet actually went down because everybody from the county side has been disconnected, and I'm only able to join because I undocked my computer and I'm connected through cellular service. So so I don't know if we'll be able to get Caleb back on the line here, but I can certainly go ahead and give an update in terms of the red tier and what that means for businesses and that kind of stuff. If Supervisor Schofield, if you'd like me to jump into that.
Ryan, why don't we just go while people are
Okay.
here?
Yeah, I think you're the guy we're waiting for, Ryan, so just
Okay.
go ahead and take it.
Well, yeah, I definitely apologize for the technical difficulties, and thank you everybody for your patience. So we are very excited that we this week were able to achieve the red tier after, I believe, 17 or 18 weeks in the purple tier, which was really difficult on the community and a lot of our local businesses for sure, as we dealt with the unprecedented surge in the midst of this unprecedented pandemic. The word unprecedented has become so cliched that I'm certainly getting sick of saying it. But because the state loosened criteria based on a certain threshold of vaccines, we were able to advance to the red tier this week, actually yesterday. As a note, if the state had not done this loosening, we would still be in purple because the previous criteria to get into the red tier was, I believe, 7, and they raised that to 10. And so we do continue to see cases, and it's entirely possible that we will continue to stay flat or even move backwards. But as of this week, we did indeed move to red. In terms of what that means, really it opens up to a lot more indoor activities compared to what was available in purple tier. Purple tier is almost entirely outdoor activities, and with the red tier, indoor becomes much more of a possibility for businesses. So retail, which had a lower capacity indoors in purple tier, is now available to open at 50%. Significantly, restaurants, which were only able to open outdoors in the purple tier and for takeout, are able to open indoors at 25% capacity with modifications. Similarly, movie theaters can open at 25% with modifications. Gyms and fitness studios are now able to offer indoor activities at 10% capacity. And then effective April 1st, outdoor live events at 20% capacity. And then indoor guidance for outdoor events will be forthcoming as well. And I understand that the state is working on that. And I can go ahead and post out a link so that you can get more information and more details in terms of all the different sectors and how they're impacted by this. But then I also just very briefly wanted to talk about what's next. Basically, we will need to continue to be vigilant and improve our data if we hope to advance. The current threshold to get to the orange tier is 4 cases per day per 100,000 in terms of the case rate, and we're currently around 8 cases per day per 100,000. So the state, depending on vaccines delivered to the most vulnerable people in the state, will continue to make changes to the tiered framework. The next threshold that we could hit within the next couple of weeks is once the state has administered 4 million vaccine doses to what's known, or to the lowest quartile of what's known as the Healthy Places Index, basically underserved communities and low-income communities. And once they hit that threshold, which based on the current pace would happen over the next week or two, then they will loosen the criteria to get down to the red tier, or sorry, to the orange tier, to 6 cases per day per 100,000. So given that we're at 8 as of this week, we still have work to do to get to the orange entrenched here. So either way, in order to get there, people are going to need to continue to maintain social distance, wear face coverings, and additionally, when you're eligible to get the vaccine. Over 40,000 people in Nevada County as of yesterday have received, no, I shouldn't say people, there have been over 40,000 doses of vaccine administered to Nevada County residents as of yesterday. That's huge progress. That progress is continuing, and as we see more and more vaccines, we should expect to see the case rate eventually start to tick down as well, and as well as the state to continue loosening the guidelines that they have in place to reflect that progress. So that's the update that I have on the red tier, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. And I see there's a couple in Q&A.
All right, do you want to read them aloud and answer them, Ryan? Thank you.
One says, I don't see, oh, that's from Marty. What
Let
is
me
the
take a look at
definition?
the, yeah, what is the definition of an outdoor live event?
So I'm going to go ahead and, I mean, it's talking about concert type events and things of that nature, not like personal gatherings. There's guidance specific to personal gatherings as well, but we're talking about events such as concerts. And so the state has already issued guidance on outdoor that will be in effect April 1st. And they've also indicated that they're working on indoor guidance. So I'll post out the link to where you can enter the county and see what's open, and it links out to the various guidance documents as well. And apologize, I'm working on a much smaller screen now, so if I'm a little slower than normal, that's
thank you, Ryan. We're lucky we all got back. For those of you, I apologize. I don't know, got dumped there for a few minutes. And I don't know, Supervisor Schofield, if you had a moment to introduce yourself or not. That already happened. Okay. No?
Formalities are done. We're good.
Formalities are done. All right.
Yeah.
We'll give you wrap up then. How about that? So just to let people know, welcome to the Nevada County Business Task Force meeting. This is being recorded and is being broadcast live on YouTube. And we just heard from Ryan Groover, our HHSA director, about the meaning of entering the red tier. And now I'd like to talk specifically about what the red tier means for the restaurant industry and the food industry from Amy Arani, our Director of Environmental Health. Amy.
Thank you, Caleb. Good afternoon, everyone. So yes, you kind of got a briefing from Ryan. He pretty much covered that we are in the red tier. And for restaurants, what does that mean? It does mean you can go back indoors at 25% of your seating capacity, or 100 persons, whichever is the lesser of those. So I did have a question earlier about folks that have bar seating in their facility. You can go ahead and seat at the bar. Remember though, if a family coming in or a couple coming in, they're one unit and they sit at the bar, you want to make sure that you have adequate seating separation between them and the next group of people that come if you're going to seat them at the bar. So I'm happy to answer any questions about that, and we're here to help you. If you want us to come out to your facility or help you with the seating, or if you have any questions on how we can get you to safely open back up indoors. Do we still need
Susie's question, do we still need to do disposable salt, pepper, and sugar?
So that is a good recommendation, Susie, but here is what you will need to do is all condiment containers. It's easier to do disposable. Otherwise, you are taking those containers and you are rotating them out. In other words, you have a set that are sanitized that can go out to the table. Once you pull those have to come off and be sanitized and rinsed. And of course, you don't want to be spraying containers with sanitizing solution. So you want to have an adequate stock that you can rotate out, and perhaps those can be washed and sanitized and then rotated out for the next day. So you must have an adequate work plan in place to triage that. So they can't stay on the table. You'd have to seat them as the customers come in.
Amy, where do you direct restaurant owners or operators to resources? I remember last time the blueprint had pretty detailed guidelines. I assume those are the same, or have they changed?
Yeah, no, they are the same. And then we also have you can get them from My Nevada County main page. Public Health is doing an awesome job of keeping that updated. And you can also just go to the state of California and just type in a blueprint for a safer economy. That will take you to that work plan, and you can go to restaurants, and it lines out exactly what we're talking about here today.
Thank you. So for our attendees, thank you for joining us and putting up with the technical piece. You can submit questions in the chat or in the Q&A below, so please feel free. All right, anything else, Amy, you want to add about the restaurant business right now and changes?
Oh, thank you, Ryan. Ryan just posted the link in the chat. Only thing to offer out there is we are still here to help and assist you. I know that there's been a lot of polarization in our community. Please know that that hasn't changed in our efforts to be your industry partner. So feel free to call us, email us, or reach out to us so that we can come out and assist you. We're still out there in the field doing our inspections, and so we're here to help you. Thank you.
All right, Amy, thank you so much. Well, now let's go to our business resources update from Kristen York, Vice President of the Sierra Business Council.
Great, and I'm going to share a screen. I have some slides that I think will be helpful, so we can talk about money, which would be great.
I was on a call with Kristen this morning and there was breaking news. How exciting is that?
Yes, there's always breaking news. So some of this information I've delivered, so I'm going to focus on what is new, and I will go through fairly quick. But the PPP, Paycheck Protection Program, we have all been hearing about forever, there is a second draw available right now. There's still money in that pot. This application is scheduled to close at the end of this month, next week. However, it may close and then reopen because Congress has reallocated additional money to the PPP program. So if you're on the fence about this, we've had a lot of success with forgiveness on this. So essentially it's a grant as long as you abide by the guidelines. And a little bit more about that. The maximum loan amounts $2 million. Some of the new things on it are that you must show a gross reduction of 25% quarter over quarter between 2019 and 2020. That's to avoid entities getting in who actually don't need the money. The expenses can be deducted from your taxes. So the government's going to give you money and then you can deduct it from your taxes. You never get that deal. So this is a really good one. And the idle advance is no longer deducted from the loan. Now, this is also breaking news as of yesterday. The idle economic injury disaster loan was initially 6 months. As of last night, it is now up to 24 months, and you can go up to $500,000. So that's a 30-year loan at 3 3/4%. That is a really good loan. And we are in the disaster declaration zone, so there's not a lot of questions about this. This is actually, I have the link down below. You apply for this through the SBA, not through your bank. PPP is through the bank. This is through the SBA because it is a disaster loan. Okay, the shuttered venue. We finally have an opening date for the application, April 8th. Not much has changed on the guidelines for this. It's still a little difficult to qualify for. You must have fixed seating. If you apply for this, you cannot also apply for the restaurant revitalization fund that I'm about to talk about. And you cannot have received a PPP after December 27th of 2020. So if you got one last year sometime earlier, you're fine. But if you recently got the second draw, no go. Okay, here's what the other big topic has been: the State of California Relief Fund. For arts and culture organizations out there, I want to encourage you to apply by tomorrow. This deadline was extended until tomorrow. The reason it was extended is that they didn't have enough applications for that $50 million. That has not happened in any other round. So they had about 2,000 applications statewide. You have until tomorrow evening. So get it in. This is a separate application, very important. You're not in it. If you are a nonprofit arts and culture, just get your application in. That will close tomorrow. Then round 5, open today. So round 5 is for anybody who applied initially and they were waitlisted. You would have been notified by email. But as of today, if you missed the boat on the first rounds, you can reapply. So the other thing I want to share is that we did get the information on who received these grants in Nevada County. The first is only for round 1. There was $237 million awarded. Only $210,000 roughly was awarded in Nevada County. So there were 13 in Grass Valley, 2 in Nevada City, 3 in Truckee, 1 in Penn Valley. Unbelievable. I mean, it's not a good showing for a variety of reasons. We're hoping those numbers are up for round 2 announcement, and then 4, 5, and 6. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, great. The Restaurant Revitalization Fund. This is new and super important for our community. This is $28.6 billion administered also by the SBA. These are grants, not loans, and they are tax-free. They're big grants. They're up to a maximum of $5 million per location. They're based on your gross receipts. So the difference between 2019 and 2020, that's a very, very busy restaurant. But what's interesting is that the eligibility criteria is actually fairly generous. So it's not just restaurants, it's food trucks, caterers, bars, wineries, tasting rooms. I would even say, reading the description, that a stall at a farmer's market. So pretty loose. We do not have the final guidelines on this, but it's really any food service that was impacted because it was such an impacted sector. If you received a PPP, you are eligible. However, the amount of your grant will be adjusted by the amount of your PPP. So government doesn't like people who double dip. So that's what that's all about. There is a carve out, which means a set aside for smaller restaurants with gross receipts of less than $500,000. And once this opens, we don't know the date, but you'll be sure to hear it here first, I'm sure, is that the first 21 days are for underserved businesses. Those are veteran-owned, women-owned, persons of color, and certain disadvantaged communities yet to be defined. So stay tuned. This is a really important grant for our community, and we'll get you the information as soon as we have it. We do not have guidelines, and we do not have an application period, but it's coming. Finally, I just want for the Sierra Resilience Fund is in Western County. It looks like nobody on the call is from Eastern County, but if you are, contact me and I'll give you more information. This is where you can get more information. If you would like free counseling, sierrabusiness.com, you sign up, you click apply now. It's free and confidential, or you can email us. You can email us for any questions, info@sierrasbdc.com. I'm going to change that. And then our free workshops, you can sign up at norcalsbdc.org. I also want to call out the Business Igniter, which is coming up at Sierra Commons. I know we have 1 sign up so far, but it's starting in April. And that's a series taught by our local business counselors, and it's going to be great. So happy to take any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Kristen. We've got 2 questions. Debbie Curtis wrote, PPP info is not current regarding SVOG, the Shuttered Venue Grant. Can get both now. PPP will be deducted from SVOG. Is that right?
Thank you. Yeah, you can't. It's the not double dipping thing. And I'm sorry. I'll correct that language. But yeah, that's a new one. So the thing is, you want to get your there are 7 versions of the FAQ. So this has been a super, super confusing grant. It took them 6 weeks to get, or more actually, to get the guidelines out. And you want to make sure you're with the most current FAQs. We do have a training coming up. If you go to that NorCal SBDC, there's a training on how to apply that will be scheduled. I can get the date. I'll look that up for you. But that'll help you. They'll walk you through the application, which opens April 8th.
So it looks like you responded to Beth Moore's comment as well, or should I read that aloud?
It's the same one. Yeah, so FAQs. Okay. Also, fixed seating applies to museums and other specific entities who have event spaces connected. Yeah, it's super, Beth, it is This is also a super confusing. There was a lot of pushback. We, SBC, actually lobbied to get that changed with our, not our congressman and our SBA, because so many people were out. Thanks. So the national webinar 3:30 on how to apply. I can put a link in here. I'll grab the link from my email and post it. But remember, if you go for shuttered venue, you cannot, right now at least, you cannot get the restaurant, the RRF grant. So.
Good. Any other questions? This is really a lot coming at us all, and I think it's just the beginning. All right, Kristen, anything else? I know you're putting links in the chat for folks, but is there anything else you want to share with the group?
I'm good.
All right, thank you so much. All right, let's go. People, you still feel free to put your questions in the chat or the Q&A, and I'll go to our special guest today. We have Jennifer Price. She's the CEO of AMI Housing, a local nonprofit housing provider. AMIH provides rental assistance, rapid rehousing, transitional housing, and permanent supportive housing in Placer, Nevada County. And she's here to talk about the state's rental assistance program. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you. So I am here to talk about the California COVID-19 Rental Assistance Program. You can find more information and apply at www.housingiskey.com. The California COVID-19 Rental Relief provides financial assistance to income qualified tenants. That's tenants making 80% or below of the AMI of the area, and rent reimbursement to landlords for unpaid rent accrued between April 1st, 2020 and March 31st, 2021. Landlords are eligible to receive 80% of unpaid rent as long as they agree to waive the remaining 20% of unpaid rent. Eligible tenants whose landlords don't participate in the program can still receive 25% of unpaid rent accrued between April 1st, 2020 and March 31st, 2021. Paying 25% of past due rent for tenants by June 30th of 2021 can help keep them in their homes under the extended eviction protections. And eligible tenants can also receive future rental assistance equal to 25% of their monthly rent. So it's a lot of information, but the basic information is that landlords are able to apply, and so are tenants, but the benefit is much higher if the landlords apply. They can get 80% of unpaid rent for the entire last year through March 31st. We are an approved partner with the state to help with applications for this program. If you start an application and you run into any problems, they will actually send you back to AMI Housing, and we can help you with completing your applications to the state. There's a checklist of items you will need. The tenants can apply and the landlords can apply, but it is better if the landlords apply. You will get more of your past due rent that way.
Good. Jennifer, you're starting to get a few questions. The first one is from Coulter. Is there a moratorium on evictions or for businesses during these times? Do you know?
Say that again. Is there a moratorium for businesses?
Yeah, and Kristen, you might know the answer to this. Yeah,
This
is there
is
a
not,
moratorium on evictions for business? This is just residential, right?
This is just residential. This is not for commercial. And this is for any landlord who has tenants who make 80% or below of the AMI of the area.
Great. So another question is there, from Kimberly, is there anything available for homeowners who are behind on mortgage payments?
Unfortunately, I don't know of anything right now in Nevada County. Ryan might know, possibly, or someone else, but I don't know of anything for Nevada County for mortgage, people who are behind on their mortgage. It would probably have the same criteria of the 80% or below AMI, but again, I don't know that.
Kristen, anything to add on the commercial side?
Right now, there is no commercial assistance except through the other. If you're a landlord, you can you can apply for a PPP. So that's one thing.
Mhm.
That is forgivable. The other thing is to reach out to your bank if you are behind, because that's where the program would come through if it's a private lender.
Great. And I see, Ryan, you have some information too.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say that, sorry, I don't know if I'm muted. No, I'm not. I was just going to say I might have to circle back with more information on what resources are available to people that are behind on mortgage payments. The eviction moratorium for residential tenants, at least, was extended through June 30th of 2021. I'm not sure if that applies to commercial, but I'm trying to find that right now.
Okay. And we will have our next meeting on April 7th. So if there's more information, we can share it at our regular April meeting. Jennifer? Looked like you were about to add something there.
No, okay. Everyone keeps asking for the link and I posted it a couple times, but I don't think it's getting out. So maybe someone else can post it.
I'm seeing it. Everyone hearing it is www.housingiskey.com. So you can't really miss that. Housing is key.
And they will walk you through the application process to see if you qualify or not, or if your tenant would help you qualify, or if your tenant qualifies. And then you can apply as a landlord and you can apply as a tenant. There's two different sections you would go to.
That's great. That's great to have that assistance. It's been a long year for many of us. So thank you, Jennifer, joining us. And if there's more to share, you're certainly welcome to come back. We convene this every month. And anyone else for the good of the order before we close out with Supervisor Schofield? All right, Mr. Schofield.
Well, just thank you everybody for joining us. And this is an example of, while we're doing a monthly meeting, when things break like this, we can put this together pretty quickly. So thank you to everybody for being here, and thank you to all the panelists involved here.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And we will conclude this session today right on time, and I'll send out the video, which you can feel free to share with anyone who you think could benefit from it, as long as they fast forward from the beginning part. But again, thank you all for joining us on short notice, and hope everyone found this helpful. All right. Good night.